And with that, it is officially time to turn the page to week 2. What better way to do that than by refreshing the power rankings? We finally got new data. We finally played one round of games. So we'll call this the power rankings after week 1. Heading into week 2, this is where things stand. They look so nice up on the wall. As we like to do, we'll start down closer to the bottom, although I'm just going to avoid some of the disaster situations happening down at the bottom of the board. Let's start at number 25, a team that didn't get a lot of publicity, but I moved them up one spot from last week. That is the Los Angeles Chargers, who get a multiple possession win over the Las Vegas Raiders. J.K. Dobbins, we were hyped about him in the preseason. Buck 35 and a tutty in his Charger debut. Jim Harbaugh gets off to a winning start. Now this is fun. I don't know how much it means because again, we've got the Las Vegas Raiders at 30 in our power rankings. I don't know how much this means, but I do just want to point out the LA Chargers now go to Carolina in week 2. Based on what we saw from the Panthers, a 2-0 start for the Chargers feels highly possible to me. Who's got it better than them? Officially, like 24 teams do, but nobody. Nice start to the Jim Harbaugh era here in LA. Another team, maybe I was harsh to the New Orleans Saints. I had them ranked way down at 28 to open the season. I heard a little bit of pushback. I heard you, Who Dat Nation. After a thoroughly dominant win, I felt like I didn't have a choice but to bump you up 7 spots from last week to number 21. Yeah, you don't beat teams 47 to 10 in the NFL. At least you're not supposed to. Thoroughly dominant performance across the board. If you pull your starters in the fourth quarter, you had a great day. But let's see how it ages because it was an impressive win. Saints fans have every right to be excited about it. You go to Dallas in week 2 now. So heck of a litmus test for the New Orleans Saints. I think as of Tuesday, the Cowboys are favored by 6.5 points at home. So Vegas does see the Cowboys as a heavy favorite. Maybe the Saints can really make some noise, though. I think like the league will be on notice if they can go to AT&T Stadium and get a win against the Cowboys. We'll see how it goes. Not everything is so happy for everybody. A few spots higher up, I had the Cleveland Browns as a top 10 team just based on the talent of their roster. Here in week 2, I've dropped them 6 spots all the way down to the exact middle of the pack. I said to myself, the talent is there. The defense is amazing. You've got enough skill talent to feel good about if your quarterback can play like his contract suggests he can. And one weekend, really at this point, almost 3 years in for Deshaun Watson, but one week into this season just doesn't seem to be the case. Yes, Deshaun Watson was pressured a lot by the Dallas Cowboys in that 33-17 loss. Yes, he was sacked 6 times, but having gone back and looked at it, there were plays there to be made by a franchise caliber quarterback in this game. Maybe not enough to win, but enough to make a good showing for yourself. And that is exactly what the Cleveland Browns did not do. A very deflating start to the season. All is not lost. Of course, there's time for them to bounce back. They get the Jacksonville Jaguars, 2 teams with disappointing starts to this season. It's not too late, but a very deflating start for a team that I think should have high expectations. Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, the team that thumped the Cleveland Browns. I'm a hard grader on the Cowboys for obvious reasons, but I've got to move them up 3 spots firmly into the top 10 after that showing. We're not going to move the goalposts on this show. The Cowboys were underdogs in Cleveland. Vegas and bettors saw them as a 2.5, 3.5 point underdog going up to Cleveland with rookies on their offensive line, with CeeDee Lamb not having much of a training camp, and they thumped the Browns. And if you think back to recent seasons, some big criticisms of the Cowboys were beating quality rosters, quality teams. Well, Cleveland made the playoffs last year despite starting 5 quarterbacks. So seems like a quality team to me, and they're usually nowhere near as good on the road. But they went up to Cleveland in front of the dog pound and really put this game away early in the third quarter. A very, very impressive win for the Cowboys. Great showing from their defense. Dak Prescott gets off to a nice start. They firmly deserve to be a top 10 team after starting the season that way. Like I said, all of a sudden, that week 2 game against the Saints, little juicier than a lot of people might have foreseen after what the Saints did in week 1. We'll see how that goes. Up at the top of the board, don't hate me, Lions fans. I didn't drop you because I wasn't impressed by your win against the LA Rams. I was very impressed. I talked about it on the Monday show. Taking the ball in overtime and just ramming the rock down the Rams' throats was as much fun as I had in week 1. Just watching David Montgomery do his thing and the Lions' offensive line get that victory. It's just that the 49ers were more impressive. They were not having Christian McCaffrey with all the stuff they were dealing with to just thump the Jets the way they did, not need overtime. It was slightly more impressive, but I just want to make it clear I am still very impressed by the Detroit Lions. I think Detroit and San Francisco, I hope they meet in the playoffs again. I'm getting way too far ahead of myself, but I thought this was the class of the NFC before the season, and week 1 backed up the way I felt about that. Lions and 49ers, good job, everybody.